The Lions get the win in the Windy City. Coming up on this edition of the Die Hard Den podcast, Seany J and I discuss Darrell Bevell's first win as interim head coach. Then we got to play our favorite game, Hell Yeah or Hell No. And we preview the upcoming game versus the Packers on Sunday at Ford Field. All this and more coming up right now on the Die Hard Den podcast. Watch out. Here comes that roar. What up, though? This is Kurt Steele, and welcome to the Die Hard Den podcast. And as always, I'm with my man, Seany J.
Good evening, good people. How are you doing?
All right. It is good to be here. Hey, thank you for checking us out right here at the Die Hard Den podcast. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, like the video, share the video, comment on the video. It helps us get this content to more viewers like yourself. If you're listening on one of the podcast platforms, thank you for the download. And as always, if you have an Alexa powered device, just say, "Hey Alexa, play the Die Hard Den podcast on your favorite podcast platform," and me and Seany J will be right there. Like our Facebook page, Seany J does an excellent job of keeping you informed of all the Lions news and notes. So, you know what it's time to do. Seany J, it is time to tell me something good. My brother, tell me something good.
Well, a lot of people questioned last year when the Lions picked him 8th overall, but T.J. Hockenson is showing his worth. He's leading all NFC tight ends in most categories, including receiving, receptions, and yards, and TDs. He's really throwing down. He's become one of the better tight ends in the NFL. I posted that, and some people in our group were a little reluctant to give him that praise.
Oh no, man! Think about this. I think he's doing really great, and he's underutilized by in the Patricia offense. But Bevell is really opening up, and he's going to be a big star going forward. All right.
And one more quick thing about TJ.
Uh-huh.
He only needs 164 yards. He's final 4 games to break the Lions single season record for yardage for a tight end, and he has an outside shot of 1,000. So I hope he gets that. 1,000.
Yeah, I hope so too. All right, next up we have my man Adrian Peterson all day. If you watch Good Morning Football on NFL Network, if you don't, we're going to explain it to you. It's a show, early morning show. It's kind of like Good Morning America for the NFL. Good Morning Football. There's a category called angry runs, and that's like one of the most vicious, runs of the week in the NFL. And Adrian Peterson won it this week for his excellent run and a touchdown winning drive for the Lions on Sunday versus the Bears. He really just destroyed Danny Trevathan and what's his name, Jeremiah Jackson, the cornerback from the Bears. He just ran them over at the end of the game. So a big shout out to my man AD, angry run winner for GMFB.
Absolutely, AP. If he can find the fountain youth and he's final 4 games, someone like the AP of old with the Minnesota Vikings, I'll be very happy.
Yeah. Who you got next?
I got something else for telling me something good. Our man, Trey Flowers, the poor man's Reggie White, as I called him last year when we signed him.
Yeah.
He's had an injury. He may not be doing well on the field, but he's been nominated for the Walter Payton Award for outstanding player, not player, but citizen of the year for all his philanthropy work and workouts in the community and charity work. That's great. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
I hope he wins that. I hope he wins it too. I really do.
Yeah.
But even more than that, I can't wait to see him get back on the football field.
Yeah. As a big accomplishment for my man, Trey Flowers, for winning the NFL Walter Payton Man of the Year for the Detroit Lions. And DeAndre Swift returned to practice. He is trending up, looking like he's going to return to action versus the Packers on Sunday. He was limited the last 2 days, but Darrell Bevell said in the press conference today's one of his best activities on the field. And one more thing, hate to not mention this, congratulations to our man Tracy Walker and his wife Bella. They gave birth to their first child right before the Bears game last week. That's why he wasn't in practice. most of the week last week. His wife Bella had their baby, and congratulations to them. It's always good to add some more Lions Cub to the pride. So congratulations to them.
Yes. And I wish these players will schedule when they get their wives or girlfriends pregnant so it interrupt the season. I know it's kind of
man, you better hush up with that, man. Babies come when they want to, man. Baby, we ain't got no control over that, man. All right, that was Tell Me Something Good this week. Now it's time to look at the offense that the Lions had versus the Bears as we go on the ball. All right, the offensive leaders for the week for the Lions. Matthew Stafford was cooking this week versus the Bears, 27-42, 402 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a 109 quarterback rating for the game. Mr. Adrian Peterson all day, 57 yards on 16 carries, 3.6 yards per carry, but 2 touchdowns, including the angry runs winner to seal the game. Marvin Jones really stepped up, 8 receptions, 116 yards, and a touchdown. We have 400 yards of passing offense, 60 yards rushing for a total of 460 yards of total offense versus the Bears. The offense really clicked it in under the new regime under Darrell Bevell. All right, so here's my initial thought, and you can give me yours. Darrell Bevell really opened the offense up after taking over the reins.
He sure did, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he didn't, this is the advantage of being a head coach and play caller.
Mm-hmm.
Bevel didn't have to worry about getting approved from Matt Patricia anymore. He could do his thing. This is his show.
Yeah.
And I really hope, I like, to my opinion, we can talk about this later on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Bevel has just as much experience as a coordinator as Salah or Bieniemy or any other name you throw out there as a coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
So he has 20 years of NFL experience.
Mm-hmm.
As a coordinator, so I think he's just qualified as
Mm-hmm.
Salah and Bieniemy. We can talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later when we get into 2 points converts. All right, Stafford, my man, Stafford played with his hair on fire. He was loose. He was confident. He dominated the game. He dominated the 4th-ranked defense in Chicago. That's one thing some Lions fans are not really giving the team credit for, even nationally. Stafford didn't really get the credit for this game, but he had.
Excuse me, did he win NFL Player of the Week?
No, NFC Player of the Week went to Aaron Rodgers. He had 128 passer rating. That's why I think that's why he got. I think to really that really isn't real to me. I think he's not getting a fair shake on this one. Stafford, he led the league in passing this week, but the Bears defense was number 4 overall. And to put up that kind of numbers on that defense is excellent. So I really think he got a bad shake on that one, just because people say, oh, the Bears suck. No, the Bears offense sucks. But the Bears defense is one of the top in the league. So, really, Matthew Stafford just shredded him.
He sure did. That's why I thought he should have won the award.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope he takes it out this Sunday on the Packers by breaking Norm Van Brocklin's all-time record, was still for 70 years for yards in a game, passing yards.
Yeah, I hope so. And speaking of, good performances, we talked about a little bit earlier, Mr. Adrian Peterson. I did like his performance. He ran with a purpose. He didn't have a lot of yards, 57 yards. He had 3.6 yards per carry, almost 4. That's decent. That's probably the median, what you want your back to average about 4 yards a carry. That's a good positive yardage. But he, the 2 touchdowns were very key. He didn't play around that goal line. He ran with some attitude and some fire down at the goal line. What do you think about Adrian Peterson's performance versus the Bears?
I liked it. He showed a little bit of the old AP, like you said, especially in the goal line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember he's in his 15th, 14th season.
Yeah, man.
He's 35 years old. I knew coming in we weren't going to get the 2007 rookie Adrian Peterson,
mm-hmm.
but give me 800 yards and about 7 touchdowns, I'd be happy. He's kind of close to those numbers, kind of.
Yeah.
And
the touchdowns, that's how numbers is good. He has some good touchdown numbers. Yeah.
Definitely. And did you see his quote this past week on Twitter? I think he says the breath of fresh air. He's kind of happy Patricia's gone too. He kind of hinted at that.
Yeah, I did see that, and we'll talk about that when we get into the later portion of the show. But because that's one area I want to touch on, before we get out of the show. But we're gonna really keep talking about the offense. Hey, my man, Mr. Marvelous Marvin Jones was killing it. 8 receptions, 116 yards, and that touchdown where he was just wide open. Most of the passes that Matthew Stafford missed were, maybe some throwaways or some overthrows during the game. But most of his receptions, like he targeted Marvin Jones 12 times, and he caught 8 passes. Marvin Jones was doing his thing. I mean, it was like, hey, you had Muhammad Sanu in there doing work. You had the young fella, and we'll talk about him later on, Cephas doing work. But Marvin Jones really stood out in the game. He really grinded, made the plays when he needed to, was able to read the zones, sit down in the zones, and make some key catches for the Lions.
Absolutely. And people wanted to trade him. I'm so glad that before he got canned, I'm so glad that Bob Quinn didn't do anything stupid by trading him away, just like he did with Joe Golden Tate a couple years ago. Because Marvin still playing. I definitely want to see him back in 21, no matter what happens the rest of the season.
Yeah. All right. Here's a really gem that happened on the field on Sunday. One Mr. Matt Nelson. Okay. Earlier in the game, Terrell Crosby went down with an ankle injury, and Matt Nelson, a former defensive lineman, had to step in at right tackle. Guess what he did? With the help of some running backs and some tight ends, because I can't discredit that. Khalil Mack, one of the top defensive ends or outside linebackers in the league. I think he's the only player to be voted All-Pro when he was at out there in Oakland as a defensive end and an outside linebacker. He was voted to the All-Pro on to 2 positions at one time. He had 0 stats on the game versus the Lions. He had no tackles for loss, nothing. He did not record a single defensive stat in the game. And Mr. Matt Nelson was the primary reason for that.
I love it. So we got a little help. Football is a team sport. It is a team sport.
Yeah, it is.
So what if they're tight end or the running back gave him a chip block, help him out a little bit. It's a team sport. So that's fine. I have no problem with that. He still did 90% of the work.
Yeah, he did.
So I love it. And he may have to start again this Sunday because Crosby and Vitae are still out. So he may start this Sunday again.
Yeah, he may have to step in. All right. So, and really the last thing I have really looking at the offensive side of the ball, kind of looking forward, moving the conversation forward. What are your thoughts? Can the offense really keep that pace up versus the Packers?
I think so. If Bevell would just do his thing, let Stafford do his thing. Trust you got a veteran quarterback. I mean, I want Stafford back too, but we'll get into that later. Let's get one of the best quarterbacks still in the NFL, a veteran. You got some good receivers, 2 former Bengals, and Marvin Jones and Sanu, his longtime teammate. I mean, it's something that thing. Got some veterans, some Swally veterans out there. Cephas, he's coming on a little bit. That's one of the reasons why I think they let go Marvin Hall, who I was a fan favorite. He's a deep ball threat. Yeah. But Cephas did the same thing Hall did. He caught a nice pass for a touchdown and bomb. So I think, like I said, keep this game plan, the Bible, just like defensively play like he did against Jacksonville. If we could bottle those up and play like that every week, the Lions will be 16-0 right now.
I don't know about that one. You got some I love your optimism, brother. But I think that that one of the things for me is that the Packers defense, their secondary is very young. And if you keep the pressure on them, throwing the ball, I think that the Lions can make some noise in Ford Field versus the Packers on Sunday. All right, that is.
Help me out real quick. Yeah. Before we go on, do the Packers have a strong, edge rusher, pass rusher?
Oh, we got them Smith boys. Them boys ain't no joke. Them Smith brothers ain't no joke.
We got some tackles, Big Ten tackles.
Yeah. We got them guys ain't no joke. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, if we can hold the Smith brothers at bay and get the ball out of Stafford's hands, I think we have a good chance of having the offense compete versus the Packers on Sunday. All right, so that's on the ball for week number 13 is in the book versus the Bears and going forward, looking ahead toward the Packers. Now it is time to defend the den. But first, thank you for tuning in to the Die Hard Den podcast. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, like the video, share the video, comment on the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and ring the notification bell so you know when you're getting fresh content from us right here at the Die Hard Den podcast. And as always, you can go over to Facebook and subscribe to our Facebook page. It is a public page. Seany J kills it over there, keeping you informed of all Lions news and rumors. And also, if you are listening to this podcast on one of the podcast platforms, thank you for your download and subscribe to the Die Hard Den podcast on your favorite podcast platform as well. And if you have an Alexa-powered device, just say, hey, Alexa, put the Die Hard Den podcast on your favorite podcast platform, be it Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and we'll be right there for you. All right, defend the den this week. All right, let's look at the Lions' performance on defense versus the Bears. The leaders in the clubhouse, Jamie Collins had 9 total tackles, 3 solo, 1 tackle for loss. J-Ron Curse was actually doing some work. He had 8 total tackles, 6 solos, and a pass defense. Now, here is the big fella continuing doing work. Romeo Okwara, 4 tackles, and they were all solo, 1 sack and 1 forced fumble. We gave up a total of 389 yards to Chicago, 249 in the air, 149 on the ground, which has been a problem for us. But overall, good performance in the second half for the Lions defense. All right, so one player that stands out, one thing that stood out, that the Lions made some adjustments at halftime and played better in the second half against Chicago.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's been a problem. Fans can complain, the Lions never make any adjustments at halftime. That's been a long complaint for the fans.
Well, hey, and it had some truth to it. They weren't making any adjustments under Matt Patricia. They was kind of just had that trust the system type deal, but the system wasn't working. You have to make adjustments at halftime, and I applaud Corey Unlin for making those adjustments. Now, here's your fella, big fella, number 95 in your playbook, number 1 in your hearts. Romeo Okwara continued to play lights out with the strip sack. It was a game changer. He pressured the quarterback all game. Mr. Romeo Okwara, what you think about the big fella R.O. getting it done on Sunday?
Love him. Great guy. Hopefully he has that. Was a 7 sack. Hopefully he get at least 3 more this season. He get double to 10 sacks, and he's up for a contract. The Lions better bring him back. And I also want to see Professor Griff back. I like he had a nice key sack too. And Professor Griff, he's a good run stuffer. I going back for 2021 as well. So, like I said, those 2 defensive ends, they're okay. Maybe they're not Merlin Olsen and Deacon Jones.
Well, you going way back. You said Merlin Olsen and Deacon Jones, man. You killing me with this one.
Freedom Force made the 60. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So Rosie Greer and Lamar London.
Man, there you go. Why you taking it back, brother? You on the way back machine talking about some Rosie Greer. But yeah, I feel you, man. I did think, man, Griff did wreck shop, man. Plenty of pressure on the quarterback. He was in Mitchell Trubisky phase most of the game, and he had the sack, man. That's a good thing. All right, so going forward, all right, so looking at the defense, one thing that they struggle on, but can the defense keep pace this Sunday coming up with the loaded Packers offense? And I'll say this, Aaron Jones can be a bigger problem than Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, he can, because then they ran all over us the first game, and we got to tighten that up.
Yeah,
you know who I like? I like the 2 young guys, who were on our practice squad last year and playing now. Frank Warren, I like Kevin Strong. Kevin Strong played very well for us last year. He made that key 4th down stop against the Bears.
He did.
Sure. I love it.
He did. And that was, and Penn City was standing right behind him, but Kevin Strong had it by himself, man. And Okwara came around on the edge to really, he sealed the edge. So Montgomery turned him back into the line, and Kevin Strong did an excellent job on that play. I cannot stress that enough. He did an excellent job. With some backup duty. We know Danny Shelton's on the shelf on RR for the rest of the year.
He's gone for the year?
I believe so. I don't know if he's going to be back. Short-term RR is only 3 games, so he won't be back for probably if he can come back the last 2 games. But he did an excellent job. Aaron Jones definitely is an issue. He wrecked shop last weekend again as well. So we're going to have to pay attention to him. I think one of the keys is to actually have Jarrett Davis on the field. To be honest with you, he's probably one of the only linebackers that has enough speed to really get to Aaron Jones. So I think he's going to play a key factor in that. All right. And we want to talk about your boy. You talked about him here, the poor man's Reggie White, as you call him. Do you think will Flowers be back this season? Now, or is it good to bring him back this season?
Will we still in the hunt? Yes, it is. We're still in the playoff hunt. Yes. Mm-hmm. He put it on short-term IR, like you said, only 3 weeks, but it's been longer than 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. I thought he'd be back for the Thanksgiving game, but obviously that didn't happen. He still ain't back. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what his injury is.
He had a shoulder injury, I believe.
Oh, but they put him on short-term IR.
Yeah.
They said 3 weeks, but I was taking longer than that.
Yeah.
If the Lions are still in the hunt, mm-hmm. Still got a shot, yeah, you bring him back. Yes.
Yeah. It's one of those things. You want to protect him. You want to protect his future. It ought to dependent on what the injury is and how severe it is. I've never been one to I never count another man's money, and I never discredit another man's injury. So I never would do that just because of the fact that you don't know what's going on with somebody and what's keeping them from being on the field. Is their body and is his future. So I can't discredit him for anything. Him getting back on the field anytime soon. I would like that only if the Lions are in the playoff push, so if he, say miraculously the Lions can come out with a victory on Sunday versus the Packers, I say, yeah, bring them back.
So do I.
Yeah.
And let me ask you one more quick thing. The future of Flowers and Danny still know these other former Patriots. Now that Patricia's gone and Quinn is gone, mm-hmm. Are they going to get rid of all these former Patriot players too?
I think Shelton and I think Shelton's a good guy. I think Shelton needs to stay. Well, Flowers has got to stay. He's still on the contract. He's going to be a big cap hit if we can really get rid of him. Collins, I think he may be gone, and I think Deron Harmon may be gone as well. I don't have a lot of confidence with him on that back end back there. That's just me. Here's my issue with some of the Patriot players that we did have on our team. Not all of them, but some of them, is that we're not getting the Patriots that were starters. We're getting the Patriots that was the backups or the second string guys. And that just doesn't work. You know what I'm saying?
Or at the end of their careers, the Patriots will pass their prime mm-hmm. and decline. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one thing that really weighs on me with the former Patriots that we did get on the Lions. So, all right, that's Defend the Den this week, people. Thank you again for checking us out right here at the Die Hard Den podcast. Now let's get into, what it is, our favorite time of the show. It is time to play Hell Yeah or Hell Nah. You ready, my man?
Let's do it.
All right. First up, the Lions need to use a firm in the GM search. Because they say we're not going to use a firm. We're just going to rely on the league. They think they should use a search firm for the GM search.
You forgot to ask me,
Or hell yeah or hell nah.
Yeah, because you missed your line.
I missed my line. Thank you for bringing me back in.
Yes, anyway. Hey, well, we saw how good a search firm helped out the last time. They recommended Bob Quinn. So,
I
don't think
they didn't use one. They used the NFL last time, like they're using the NFL this time.
Well, okay, I got really confused. I thought the search firm helped them.
They used a Corsi because he worked for the league last time. So that's what they did. So that's
Forget
that's a
him.
hell yeah for you. You want them to use a search firm? I do
Not
too.
necessarily.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Use the, use your common sense. If you don't need a search firm, or
Mhm.
don't use a Cork anymore because he recommended Quinn, and
Yeah.
we don't go that route again. So use your common sense. Use your lead.
Mhm.
Get some, do your research.
Uh-huh.
You don't necessarily have to use a search firm. Not necessarily. So that's
Mhm.
a hell maybe.
A hell maybe. You know
Yes.
what though? I'm gonna say hell yeah with a caveat as well. They are using Mike Disner as helping with the coaching. I mean, the GM search, and he has plenty of experience in the league. If you know who Mike Disner is, he is the Lions cap specialist, and he's the president of football operations for the Lions. So he has plenty of experience working and searching out with GM. So he's helping with that process. So all right, moving on.
Excuse me. Why can't Denzer be the GM then?
No,
You
no,
know,
he's a cap guy. He's not a GM. He's not a personnel guy. He's a cap guy.
okay.
Two different things. All right, next up, Bevell should get the head coaching job if the Lions win out. Hell yeah or hell nah.
I said this for hell yeah. I'm pulling for him because I want to see the Lions play. I don't want no tanking. Sheila doesn't want to see him tank either.
Mm-hmm.
If he wins out, yeah, like I said, he's just as qualified as like I said, Sailor or Bieniemy or that guy
Mm-hmm.
from Buffalo or any coordinator in the
Mm-hmm.
league because Bevel's been in the job in the NFL for 20 years as a
Mm-hmm.
assistant coach and a coordinator, so he's just qualified. If the Lions should win out, I say hell yeah, she should get the job.
I'm gonna say hell yeah with a caveat. He's gonna have to either win or compete in a playoff game for me to give him my vote of confidence. Now, that's just me. But I agree with you just with a caveat. To me, he has to really either win a playoff game or really compete in a playoff game to get my vote of confidence as the head coach, to be the next head coach of the Detroit Lions. All right, next up, the Lions would have a better record if they fire Patricia sooner. Hell yeah or hell nah.
Well, it's 2020 is always hindsight's always 2020. I would say chances are yes, but Sheila, she's like she said in her conference after firing those guys,
Mm-hmm.
she really liked Patricia and Quinn. She gave them every opportunity in the world to turn around. For a minute there, it looked like they were
Mm-hmm.
when they won 2 straight. When he beat the Falcons and when he beat the football team, she gave him every chance, but he ran out of chances.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like I said, it's hard to say if they would have been better, but
Man, hell,
yeah,
what you saying, man? Hell yeah, hell no, hell
hell
maybe
maybe.
again, man. I'm gonna say hell yeah, they would have a better record, man. I'm telling you right now that the Lions should have fired his behind long ago. If you see the attitude, and we'll talk about this in a minute. If you look at the attitude of the players and the coaching staff, uh, there's one line that someone said is that it's been better with the dictator gone, and the dictator is Matt Patricia. So the moving on. All right, next up, Matthew Stafford would throw for 400 yards again versus the Packers on Sunday. Hell yeah or hell nah.
I'm going hell yeah because I think he's pissed off. He should have won NFC Officer Player of the Week last week, but Rodgers got it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he want to one up Rodgers, upstage Rodgers this week,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope he breaks Norm Van Brocklyn's all-time record for yards and passing yards in the game.
Okay. I'm going to say hell yeah as well. They have a very young secondary over there in Green Bay coming in the fourth field. I think that the Darrell Bevell opening up the offense and letting Matthew Stafford throw the ball more often than not is definitely a way that the Lions can win on Sunday. And one key thing is Matthew Stafford going back there and throwing that rock. All right, next up, the Andre Swift finally plays versus Green Bay. Hell yeah or hell no. Nah.
Hell yes. If he's ready, if he's healthy,
Mm-hmm.
he's sprinting towards playing. Yes, you got to play him.
Yep.
We need him. Excuse me.
Definitely that. Definitely that. All right, last one. The Lions let Kenny Galladay walk in free agency. Hell yeah or hell no. Nah.
Hell no. He's a steel weapon. I hope he's healthy. I hope this
Mm-hmm.
hip isn't a Bo Jackson type hip injury.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll be back, If you have to sit him the rest of the season, so be it.
Mm-hmm.
But make him get strong and get healthy. Don't bring him back before he's ready.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great weapon, so bring him back. And
All right.
that hurts the negotiating leverage a little bit too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The thing is, to me, I think that a lot of players want to see. There's some fans that want to see a sign and trade. Now his contract is up at the end of the season, so they don't have to sign and trade him. But I think it's better to sign and trade him to get draft capital. If we go that route, just because of the fact if we just let him walk in free agency, you get nothing in return. Okay, all right, that is hell yeah or hell nah for this week. Thank you for tuning in to the Die Hard Dan podcast. As always, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, like the video, share the video, comment on the video, give us some feedback on how we're doing with our show. If you are a member of Facebook and you want to check out more content from Seany J and I, go over to our Facebook page and check it out. Seany J does an excellent job of keeping you informed of all Lions news and notes over on our Facebook page. If you're listening to this show on the podcast platforms, hey, thank you for your download. Subscribe or follow the page on your favorite podcast platform. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Ring the notification bell so you know when you get fresh content from us right here at the Die Hard Den podcast. And if you have an Alexa powered device from Amazon, just say, hey Alexa, play the Die Hard Den podcast, and give the Alexa your favorite podcast platforms, being Apple, Spotify, or Google Podcasts, and we will be right there for you. All right, now it is time to go in 2 points conversing. All right, 2 points conversing this week. We're going to touch on a couple of topics. Now, first up, the team attitude has changed under Bevell. What do you say about that?
It has. It's a breath of fresh air. Bevell, he's not as stringent as or tight as Patricia was. He let him play music in the locker room. He's not as restrictive. So yeah, the players they feel it. They notice a change. Just like I said, like getting out of prison almost. So
they say get out of prison. Boy, you killing me with that one. Yeah. I'll feel you with that one though. I feel you, man.
So the players really they noticed. Like I saw AP posting on Twitter this week and other players. Mm-hmm. So even Matthew Stafford had to take his digs against Patricia. So that was Patricia's really a jerk, seems like,
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, he showed us who he was when he first came in. I mean, that first press conference and telling a member of the media to sit up, that's he was a pretty tough character to root for a lot of times. All right, the Lions have the toughest remaining schedule in the league. 31 teams have an easier schedule than the Lions. It's some tough sledding going forward. What do you think about the Lions' chances coming up with that remaining schedule? I mean, look at who we have. You got Green Bay on Sunday. You got Tennessee. You got Minnesota to stretch out the end of the season, and then you got to go up against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Yeah, that is some tough sledding, my man. What do you think about the remaining schedule?
It is, but this is, like I said, where Bevell will make or break Bevell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he can go, his final 5 games, he go 4-1, 3-2,
mm-hmm.
maybe get into the playoffs or just miss, but she likes what she sees.
Mm-hmm.
He has a legit opportunity for the job.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the teams we play, they're tough,
mm-hmm.
but they're not invincible. They can't be beaten,
That's very
toughest,
true.
Like Tom Brady, he
mm-hmm.
said they struggled at times this season, Tampa this year. And so did Tennessee against Cleveland at home.
Mm-hmm.
They can chain the big guy,
mm-hmm.
Derrick Henry, the running back.
Yeah.
Stop Henry, stop the Titans. And the Lions should put 11 men in the box just to stop them. Derrick Henry. Yeah. Do what you got to do. Go all out. Do what you got to do.
I think the really big thing that stands out for most of these individuals, teams that we're facing, but actually really besides the Packers, is that most of them have really, really good defenses. The Bucks have a really good defense. So does the Minnesota has a decent defense. And you look at Tennessee, they have a good defense as well. So, but all of them have areas that you can exploit. But And most of them don't have really gaping holes in their defense, and that's why they have really good records. All right. Next up, we talked about this a little bit. Marvin Hall. What was your thoughts when the Lions cut Marvin Hall?
I was surprised, very surprised, because he's a deep threat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he improved, had more receptions than last season.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, with Seany J, I was very shocked they cut him. But this is after Patricia, too, so you can't put this on Patricia or Quinn.
Nah.
So I was very surprised. But they most likely seen Quintez Cephas and also Marvin Sanu.
Mm-hmm.
So he was picked up by Cleveland, by the way.
He was. Marvin Hall was picked up, and we'll see him next week on the field. I root for that guy. I mean, I ain't rooting for the Browns, but I root for him just because of the fact that I did like him as a player on the Lions.
I did too.
But Cephas,
I was surprised,
Yeah, but Cephas showed up and showed out. You know what though,
he did.
and that and that may be him playing more looser under Bevell than the tight grip of a Matt Patricia. He is a rookie, and sometimes they can get a little, they can get a little shaky when you have a different change of coach. I don't think he was used to his type of coaching style coming out of college. So
perhaps that could be it.
Yeah,
everybody feels after Patricia leaving.
Yeah, so it's just maybe this will be the change of environment just helped him perform. He didn't have drops on Sunday, just dropping passes. That long touchdown pass was excellent. People say he pushed off. I don't think he pushed off. I think he used that arm as a feeler, because you didn't see him like kind of push off. He just kind of put his arm out to see where the defensive back was. It really wasn't a push off. He was just kind of feeling him where he was, so he can judge where he can get to the ball if he had enough space to make the catch. So,
and Randy Moss made a career out of those type of plays. You know?
Just you're sticking your arm out there as a feeler, because you can tell he didn't push, because he didn't see he didn't change the path of the defensive back. He just kind of put his arm out there so he can kind of feel where he was. But that was an outstanding catch and play by the rookie. He had a really good game. Cephas was very solid versus the Bears. So good job out there, young fella. And last but not least, in 2 points conversion this week, Michigan legislatures and the lawmakers and the state legislatures of Michigan are petitioning the Lions to hire Robert Saleh as the next head coach of the Lions. What do you think about Michigan politicians getting involved in the Lions coaching search?
Very interesting. Will they take the blame if he fails as the coach they think he is? I never heard this before. Legislature,
it's
the football team to hire a coach. I heard I remember Jesse Jackson. He petitioned some teams to give some black coaches a chance. But actual state legislatures and lawmakers, this is different. Like I said, Saleh. Once again, Saleh.
Salah.
What separates him from Bieniemy? Salah.
Yeah.
And what separates him from Bieniemy and even Bevell? That's the thing.
I think the really issue with Robert Saleh, he's from Dearborn. He grew up 2 miles from the facility in Allen Park. They want to bring that hometown boy back home to coach the Lions. They're probably looking at that and being pure Michigan and bringing a hometown guy in, and they can kind of really use him as an example. He's of Lebanese descent, and that Dearborn area is one of the biggest Lebanese populated area in the United States. So they're looking at bringing a hometown hero back, but sometimes it doesn't work out too well. You look at Steve Mariucci. Now, he did have Matt Millen, but he's a Michigan guy too, and he didn't fare too well as head coach of the Detroit Lions.
Jim Harbaugh, Michigan, quarterback, the former hero. I hope Harbaugh comes back, but still, a lot of Michigan fans want to get him fired.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And there's some people who want him to coach the Lions. Looking at the success he had out in San Francisco. So, all right, that is 2 points conversing this week. Now it's time to get into our game predictions. Looking at the Lions versus the Packers coming up on Sunday. Let's look at the Thursday practice report. Looking at this before we kind of get into our game predictions and what we could have keys to the game. You have Tyrell Crosby again was out Thursday with the ankle injury. Kenny Galladay still out with the hip. Jeff Okuda still has that groin injury. He didn't practice at all this week. Now you come into some limited practices. Austin Bryant, who has played well when he's been in the lineup. That guy, he's been a missing piece of the Lions for the last couple of years. Limited on Wednesday and Thursday. Deshaun Hand with a groin as well. Limited Thursday and Wednesday. CJ Moore did not practice on Wednesday, but he's trending upward. Practice on Thursday. Quarterback Matthew Stafford, you know who he is. Number 9 in your program, number 1 in your hearts. Definitely going to be limited. They want to keep that thumb loose. They don't want to have him taking snaps in practice. They want him in the shotgun so he can just play light, play loose. Here's the interesting: DeAndre Swift with the illness. He has cleared concussion protocol, like we said last week. Limited the last 2 days, but Darrell Bevell said he is trending upward. Had his best day of practice. Kerryon Johnson was limited on Wednesday with that knee injury, but he was a full go today. He should be ready to go for the game on Sunday. So those are your Lions practice report, your injury updates on the Lions. Now they're coming into the game 7.5-point underdogs at home versus the Packers. The Packers are statistically better on both sides of the ball. They get more yards on offense and they give up less yards on defense. Now here's one thing that's maybe a wash: the passing games. The passing games are literally identical as what they get per game, right around 280 yards per game for both teams. So that may be a wash. Looking at that, one of the keys for the games for me is that DeAndre Swift and the rest of the running backs need to keep Aaron Rodgers on the sideline. We need to control the ball and that high flying passing attack from the Packers. We can throw the ball and run the ball without having these quick hitting plays that go downfield, and we can just control the clock and keep them on the side. I think that's one of the biggest keys of the game.
Playing keep away, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's, if Swift comes back in and AP plays, runs angry again, I think you have a good chance, but we got to still be aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Let's don't hold Matthew, don't be too conservative.
Mm-mm.
Let Matthew do his thing. Let him sling the ball. Let him throw for 5 touchdowns if possible,
Yeah, I feel you. Because we definitely have to keep that defense. That sometimes what do you call that? The best defense is a good offense. So if we keep the ball moving, keep the pressure on them, and maybe just kind of keep them on the field. If it's a shootout, it's a shootout, and I can understand that. If we're scoring as much as they're scoring, then I feel good about our chances. But we have to maintain pace with those guys, because if not, they will run away with the game really, really fast. So here is the question of the show: who you got, and what's the score?
Well, I think it will be a shootout between the two old pros at quarterback, Rodgers and Stafford. I think they're going to both have big games.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm going with my Lions. I think it'll be 45-42 Lions in a real high-scoring shootout. Too bad no fans could be there for it.
All right. Now, I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it 100. I'm not feeling good about the game right there on Sunday for the Lions. I'm going to say 35-30 Packers on Sunday. I think it's going to be a shootout, but I think that the Packers just have a little bit too much juice, and we have a really depleted defense. We just really beat up on the defensive side of the ball. We're playing a lot of backups, and I think that is going to be hard to contain Aaron Jones. I think, to me, Aaron Rodgers can kill us, but I think Aaron Jones is going to be a big, big issue because our run defense is so terribly bad right now. So, all right, that is it. It is time for us to go ahead and get on out of here. Seany J, tell the people how they can find you on social media.
I'm mainly on Facebook. You can find me. My name is Sean Jennings. I'm also the head administrator of the Detroit Lions Choose Fan group. Also, I run our Facebook page for Die Hard Den on Facebook. It's a public page. You can easily find us. And I'll be happy to add you as a member to the Choose Fan group as well.
All right. Thank you. All right. For me, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CurtisSteele14. That's at CurtisSteele14. You can follow the show on Twitter at DieHardDenPodC1. On Instagram, it's at die_hard_den_podcast. And again, thank you for tuning in to the Die Hard Den podcast. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, like the video, share the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, click the notification bell so you know when you're getting fresh content from us right here at the Die Hard Den podcast. Like the Facebook page, Seany J does an excellent job of keeping you informed of all Detroit Lions news and notes. And if you're listening on one of the podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever you're listening on, thank you for the download. We appreciate you listening to the show. And if you're listening to, if you have one of those Alexa powered devices, just say, "Hey Alexa, play the Die Hard Den podcast on your favorite podcast platform," and we'll be right there for you. Seany J, what's your parting shots for the audience tonight?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this COVID is still ravaging the country. So please, we want to get rid of this COVID thing. Be safe, wear your mask, wash your hands, and practice social distancing.
That is a good message. All right. And as always, be good to each other. You know what I'm saying? Like Seany J says, wear your mask, social distance, and it's just to keep everyone safe from this COVID-19. It is definitely raging throughout the country. So it's a very, very ugly disease. And now it is the number one cause of deaths in the US, which is ridiculous. So just be safe out there, people. We care about you right here at the Die Hard Den podcast, and we want you to be safe. Now, you know what you got to do. Me and Seany J want you to, whatever you do in life, you got to boss up, ball out, and be the best version of you that you can be. For my man, Seany J, this is Kurt Steele of the Die Hard Den podcast, and we are out.